Well, hello everybody and welcome to the first official pre-season press conferences of the year. I'm delighted to say I'm joined by Lance Stroll, Esteban Ocon, George Russell and Pierre Gasly. Nico Hülkenberg couldn't join us, but we'll try and get him back to another press conference as soon as we can. Pierre, as you're closest to me, we'll start with you. Here in Bahrain last time round, it was a difficult time for the team. What a difference a year makes. How are you feeling about the season ahead?
First of all, it's lovely to see you.
Thanks.
I'm just very happy and very excited to, get back in the F1 paddock, get back working with the team behind the wheel this afternoon, and just get going for a new year. It's been a very good winter. Sundays have been quite different to what they were used to. And I just feel like going back racing and wheel-to-wheel fights and stuff like that. So looking forward to this. In terms of how we're looking, I'll be surprised if we look as bad as we did a year ago. But then you never know. I think we're just going with a very open mind, and the team's done a good job over the winter. We're satisfied with the gains we've had, and obviously need to check how it feels on track and what it does, but just excited about it.
Lovely stuff. Thanks, Pierre. George, I'll come to you next. You're in the car this afternoon. You're super keen in your race overalls already. It seems like the mutterings from the team over the winter is it feels like it's been a step. Is that kind of how you're feeling heading into this campaign? Is there a good atmosphere?
Yeah, absolutely. It's obviously a fresh start for all of us, and just excited to see what the season will bring. This morning was a solid start for the team. The car's handling well. It's obviously very different conditions here compared to what we're used to. Very windy, and we also know that last season, for example, there were such massive fluctuations in performance from all the teams. If you come away from this test quickest or fourth quickest or third quickest, whatever, you maybe not be able to read too much into it. But nevertheless, the car seemed to be performing well.
Lovely stuff. Thanks, George. Esteban, coming to you. Good to see you in Haas colours for the first time this season. How's the winter been in terms of preparation? Do you feel fully integrated with the team and ready to hit the ground running for this test this week?
Yeah, definitely ready for this test. I think we've had a good winter to prepare, a good time, with the team. Moving forward, step by step, every single day, working with the team is something learned and something that we just get rid of and improve. So. Not fully ready yet, but obviously we have 3 days of testing, which is very good. Ollie's been driving this morning. It's been a trouble-free morning, good data already. We know where we are going this afternoon. So, excited to see what the car will do in those dry conditions, because I drove in the snow conditions in Silverstone with the Academy tires. So we'll see how that goes.
Lovely stuff. Thanks very much, Esteban. And Lance, coming to you. Thanks for waiting. How are you feeling about the season ahead? I know it wasn't the most drivable car last year. The team have said they've worked really hard to try and improve those characteristics. So from the early feels of the promotional day and what you heard from Fernando's radio this morning, you encouraged?
Yeah, it's good to be back. Always an exciting time of the year when everything gets started again. A lot of work has gone into AMR 25. Learning from last year, areas of the car that we think, we could improve on. So, we'll see. It's still very early days, but it's good to be back in the car and excited to get out there this afternoon.
Lovely stuff. While I let these guys maybe pull it back together, that's enough for me. I'll open up the questions to the floor. If you just raise your hand, if you've got a question, just say your name and publication as usual, and we'll come to you as soon as we can.
Dan Lawrence, Motorsport Monday, motorsportweek.com. Question to Esteban, George and Pierre, please. You all three had rookie teammates in the car this morning. Is there any sort of advice or dialogue you had with them to sort of cluing them in on what to expect from a Formula One testing session? Obviously, it's kind of a new environment for all three of them. Thank you.
Who wants to start that one?
Yeah, obviously, three youngsters, but I think they've all had a lot of experience. Obviously, these two guys, teammates, have already done races in F1, and Kimi's done a lot of mileage already. So I think rookies now are really well prepared. Lots of practice, and driving is sort of the easiest part of our job, comparing with all of the marketing and everything that goes with it, which I think as a rookie is probably the biggest change when you get to Formula One. But when you drive a race car, you feel at home.
Sven, anything to add?
We've been working and keeping the dialogue open, with Oli. There was very much aim on what we wanted to test this morning, and I've listened to his debrief now, and I know what we are going to test this afternoon, but we just keep moving forward. All these 3 days, this is going to be the aim, and so far it's been working well. We've done the same thing, after Silverstone. I told him what I thought, we should do with some of the settings on the car, and we've validated that, obviously, arriving in Bahrain and when he drove at the filming day. So we're moving forward with everything, and keeping working together is very important at this early stage.
And Pierre, anything to add?
Don't chant. Best advice I got given the first time I jumped in a Formula One car. Jack already has experience from Abu Dhabi, a lot of experience with the team, and fits in really well. Very motivated and with the right attitude. So, it's all going to plan, and all good.
Lovely stuff. Next one, please.
Ian Parks, Racing News 365. George, can I just ask you just how different Mercedes feels without Lewis over these first few weeks at the promotion events, being here? And I asked that simply on the basis that, of course, he was staple for a long part of with the team, of course.
Yeah, naturally, it does feel different, of course. Lewis is such a huge personality on and off the track, but I think everybody within the team is sort of very much excited for this next chapter, really. And I guess, as the team may look back on fond memories, I also feel grateful to have had that chance, being his teammate for 3 years and learning so much from him, but also going head to head with him directly for 3 years. It kind of feels, the end of a chapter, but then you're looking forward to the next journey. So it's very much for us at Mercedes, we're looking forward and not backwards.
Thanks so much, George. Next one.
Nelson Valkenburg, Viaplay, for all 4 of you. An F1 driver a couple of weeks ago told me that he needs 5 laps to know whether or not it's going to be a challenging season or a good season. How long does it take you guys to know a little bit of the potential of the new car?
Lance, do you want to take that one first?
Sometimes less than 5 laps.
Oh. Esteban?
I think I'm more patient. I wait a bit more. I wait after FP3 to give some answers. But no, really everyone goes flat out at the first qualifying, and then you know better. Of course, you start to take a little bit of information from everyone, try and dig into which run profile everyone did, and you start to build a picture. But yeah, I'm focusing on my side of the job, and once you arrive into the first race anyway, that's when it matters. So we'll see.
George, which way are you going? A few laps? Lots of laps?
Yeah, I don't know which driver said that, to be honest. So I've not done the first proper laps yet, so looking forward to that in the next hour.
Pierre?
Well, it took us no laps last year to know it was going to be challenging. So, I guess it's all into perspective. But yeah, we always know by Q1, in Australia, then you get a better picture. But.
Thanks. Next one, please.
Alex Kalinauckas, Autosport. Question to George, please. You mentioned the conditions earlier. It's more Silverstone-like than necessarily Bahrain. I just wondered how much has the team told you that might change what you're experiencing or what you're feeling this afternoon, and does it hamper the data that you guys can gather as a team? Thanks.
I think it's very important to you take the data away from this week, and you take into consideration the conditions that we've got, but you've also got to try and think what it could have been if the temperature was 20 degrees hotter, if the wind was 180 degrees different. And I think that's what we use the simulator for, because it's all well and good saying the car feels great here in Bahrain with 15 degrees, we're never going to race in Bahrain in 15 degrees and the wind probably as strong as it is today. So that's why I think the simulated correlation is really, really important, and ensure you go through that sweep of conditions, of wind, to really try and understand what limitations you're probably going to expect in a different circumstance.
Great stuff. Thanks, George. Next one, please.
Luke Smith from The Athletic. George, a question for you. I know you talked a bit about the swearing and misconduct guidelines that come in F1 75 last week, but this could be one of the closest seasons in F1 history. There's so much anticipation for it. Is it a bit of a shame that we've kind of got this storyline hanging over the season coming in?
I think always in the off-season you have a lot of non-racing related stories, because that's the only thing that's going on. I'm sure once we get through this week, we arrive in Melbourne, we're all going to be focused on the racing. And ultimately for us, that's all we want to do. And for the fans, that's all they want to see. So I don't think the things that have been going on will be overshadowing anything.
Thanks, George. Next one, please.
A question to George. George, you know very well the whole Mercedes compared to Kimi, obviously. What negative characteristic do you hope have been fixed, thinking about this new project?
I think it was clear last year we struggled a lot in the hot races, and we had a lot of oversteer in the car when the track was very hot, and this is something we've tried to dial out. Of course, for everybody, it's trickier when it gets hot, but it was clear with our performance that we really went backwards. And also it was on a knife's edge. You saw us all have a few crashes last year. You just lose, you go outside of the window and you was in the wall. So we've put a lot of focus on making the car more drivable, more intuitive to drive. And I think from what we've seen so far, it seems to be doing that.
Thanks very much, George. Any more questions? There's one over here.
Ben Hunt, Autosport. Just a question for all four, actually, just to get your take on F1 75. We thought it was a success. Would you like to do it again, or is once enough?
Who would like to take that one first?
Lance.
Lance, do you want to have a go?
I thought it was a cool activity from F1 for sure. It was great for the fans. Good exposure for our sport, for our teams, sponsors. So, yeah, I thought it was a nice way to kick off the season.
Esteban?
I think the energy was insane, honestly, when we're on the middle of the stage there and unveiling the car and, the people shouting. It's something that, will forever stick in my mind, It's quite crazy. I watch, the UFC, and, the UFC when they're in the middle of the stadium, it's quite similar, but we don't really get to experience that apart from Mexico Drivers Parade, but we are not actually really in the middle. It's outside and it's very different. But yeah, there was quite special. So yeah, it was quite incredible.
Pierre, how about you?
Yeah, I think it was a great event. At first, so I'm sure the way it was perceived from the fans and the exposure was enormous for our sports teams and sponsors, as Len said. I'm sure a couple of tweaks there and there we can do to improve the show and improve the whole organization, and just get more out of it in the future if they want to do it again. But it was definitely something special, which we don't, in terms of feeling going on stage with such a crowded stadium. It's not something you get to experience as an F1 driver. So it was definitely a quite unique feeling.
Great. So, George, Jack Whitehall gave you a bit of grief, didn't he?
No, I thought it was great. To be honest, I think Jack Whitehall was really great and added a lot to the evening. You too, Lawrence. You were great as
Thanks,
well.
But thanks.
No, but I think it was really good for the sport. Everything F1 is doing at the moment, it feels like it adds a lot to the sport as a whole. So, I really enjoyed it. They did a great job, and happy to see it again next year or whenever they plan to do it again.
Great stuff.
In Paris.
Thanks, George. Thanks, Pierre. Any more questions? There's one over there.
Ian Parks, Racing News 365. To all four drivers, Carlos Sainz was named as a GPDA director. Can you just ask what you feel about that, what he brings to the party for the association, how he can help the association move forward?
George, you want to start with that one?
Yeah, I mean, it's great to have Carlos part of a GPA. I think such a, obviously a great driver, really smart, wise individual, and has been around for a long time. And of course, in the past, there was always more than one driver director. But since Sebastian, it's just been myself for the last couple of years. So I'm happy that the questions can be shared out a little bit more evenly between me and another driver. But I think for all of us, as 20, we're probably more united than ever, especially with everything that's going on off track. And to have Carlos as one of the senior voices as well, I think is a great addition.
Esteban, anything to add?
Yeah, not much more to add really. Carlos been a very experienced driver for many years, very successful driver as well. I think we're all happy, obviously, that he stepped up, and that's why he's up there.
Lance, anything to add?
No.
Pierre? Any more questions? Yeah, we've just got one over there.
To all four. For teams, quite a lot of focus is already on 2026, of course. And I was just wondering if any of you have driven something based on 2026 regulations in the simulator lately, and if so, how did it feel in terms of drivability, and are some of the concerns that were there in the beginning with downshifting on the straights and things like that, are they gone after the FIA changes? Thank you.
Lance, why don't you start that one?
No, I haven't driven anything on the simulator yet.
Esteban?
No, I haven't driven anything yet. I think that will come probably quite soon. There's, I think, still a lot of things that are in the loop, to be finalized, from what I'm hearing. It's going to be interesting to see, who continues development, who stops it, earlier to focus on 26. But so far, focused on this year on our side, and the most important, is to start the season well, and we'll see for 26 later.
George, Pierre, done any 2026 work on the sim?
Yeah, already started just with a few sort of concept stuff, and I think the problems that were being spoken about a year ago or so, they won't be as drastic. A number of drivers have driven the 2026 tyres, which are going to be narrower tyres to try and help reduce the drag. That was a bit of a challenge compared to the wide tyres we have today. It was quite a step worse for the tyres, naturally because they're just much more narrow. So hopefully they will be improved over the coming months. But I think it's going to be an exciting year next year as well.
Pierre, anything to add?
Yeah, no simulation, but similar to George, where we've tried a couple of, we've done some work with Pirelli for the 2026 tires, which is all going into exploring and trying to get the best product possible, but not to the extent of trying different engines or cars which will be similar to next year. So mainly tire work. Yeah.
Great. So just before we wrap up, can I get some predictions from you guys for the season ahead? Let's start with Esteban.
Hopefully it's very close all the way through the field. Hopefully the field is spread within 3/10 like we've seen in Abu Dhabi last year, and it's up to the best team of the moment and the best driver of the moment, who will be on top. That's my only wish. It's not a prediction, but it's a wish.
Pierre?
Well, personally, I think it will be cool for the sport to have a third team joining the fight for the championship, which I think is possible. And more biased, but hopefully the midfield can challenge the top teams more consistently, and hopefully create a couple of surprises, as we've seen on some occasion last year. So, yeah.
Great stuff. George, just quickly.
Yeah, I mean, the wish is that we're all having a good fight. I think prediction, I think McLaren are going to be pretty strong. Lando said they found a lot over the winter, and he's looking pretty confident. So, but we all wish to have a close fight. There's nothing more you can ask for.
And Lance, just finally, anything from you?
I think everyone said everything. Hopefully it's close, fun, exciting.
Lovely stuff. Well, guys, thanks very much for your time. Best of luck for the rest of the year.